I'm Renee, a retired educator turned wine bar conversationalist. This is Conversations Over Wine, where wisdom is poured and stories are shared. Each week, we slow down, pour a glass, and talk about life's lessons, aging with intention, and what really matters as we grow older. I'm so glad you're here. Pour yourself a glass of wine, and let's begin. In the last episode, I spoke of my word for 2025, Attraversiamo, which, if you remember, means let's cross over in Italian. And I also talked about why I chose that word and encouraged you to think about what your word would be for 2025. I skimmed the surface of why Attraversiamo fit my year, why that would be my word for 2025. I do hope you took the time to think about your word, because reflection is really where we grow the most. But today, I want to dig a little deeper into some of the changes I made while I was crossing over in 2025. Some involving less. Let's start with less stuff or belongings. When you go from a 4-bedroom house to a 1-bedroom apartment, it goes without saying you are going to be purging, unless you plan on renting a storage unit, which I did not. Why did I choose to not get a storage unit? Why didn't I keep all my stuff and then just take what I needed to my new tiny little 1-bedroom apartment on the Trinity River? Well, the truth is, I was ready to get rid of all the extras I did not need or really even want. Honestly, did I need 3 mixers? No, I needed 1. I did not need kitchen hand towels for every holiday. I needed just a few day-to-day towels, and of course I needed a Christmas towel because, well, Christmas is my favorite holiday, and it is now the one holiday that I choose to decorate for. Speaking of Christmas, my large tree, I gifted it. All the extra Christmas decor I gave to my oldest daughter, Maddie, who's starting her own life. And I only kept my favorite Santa Clauses to display. I do love them. And there's plenty of room in my apartment to put some of those on display. I also gave my daughter all my fall decor. I don't need or want that anymore. I used to decorate for fall, decorate for Easter, decorate for Christmas, maybe even a little bit for Valentine's. Not anymore. Now I'm happy with putting up my tiny little Christmas tree, putting up my Santa Clauses, my 1 Christmas hand towel, and a few other little things here and there. My intention is just to keep my normal decor up year-round with just a few Christmas decorations brought out during the holidays. For me, if it didn't fit in one box, it was going to be gifted. I pared down all my dishes to a set of 6. Extra pots and pans and storage containers, gone. I kept only 1 small set. Let's face it, we all have extra sets of so many things, when in reality, we need 1. If it works and does its job, well, that's really all I need. Again, moving from a 4-bedroom house to a 1-bedroom apartment was really a great time to purge, a great time to reflect on what it is I need, what I don't need, and really asking myself, why was I hanging on to all those extra things? Well, let's move on to the closet. That was a big change. I went from a decent size walk-in closet at my house to a small one here in my one-bedroom apartment. Well, you can walk into it, but you're not going very far in. So I had to make some more decisions there as well. And I will tell you, I love clothes. I love clothes. I love shoes. And even though the year prior to me selling my house, which as a reminder, I sold my house back in April of 2025, and I've been living in this one-bedroom apartment since then. Today is January 1st, 2026. So about 7 months or so in my one-bedroom apartment. So this is a good time to kind of reflect and think about how I got here. When it came to my closet, like I said, I did love clothes, but I had worked on paring down over the last year when I was still in my home. So I had to make a decision, some big ones, about what to keep and what not to keep to fit into my new small closet. I decided if it didn't fit in this closet, it was being donated. I went through my clothes, did all those questions that the influencers tell you to do if you're evaluating your closet and what to keep and what not to keep. Looked at clothes don't fit, if they have holes or tears or they're just really not your style anymore. I went through all of those questions and weeded through my things. It's amazing now how everything I need fits in this small closet in my apartment. I still have cute clothes. I still have cute shoes, but I don't have as much. And I really didn't need all of those clothes because, kind of makes it hard to find outfits when you have so many clothes to go through. That's why we end up oftentimes just buying a new outfit, because it's too much work to go through the clothes that we already have because they're stuffed in there, and to try to pull them out and piece together an outfit can seem a little overwhelming sometimes. Well, I have learned the less I have, the easier it is to put my outfits together. Another trouble spot for me was shoes. Well, I had to go through those for sure and get rid of those that just scuffed up, really didn't wear anymore, all of those good things. And the problem with my apartment closet is the floor space, because my dresser would not fit in my bedroom because my bed's so big. So the movers put my dresser into my closet. Well, that takes up a big chunk of the floor space. So this resulted in me having very little room for my shoes. So I put an over-the-door hanger, put a few on the floor, and the out-of-season shoes now go in a storage container under my bed. I cannot express how freeing it is to have so much less when it comes to my clothes and shoes. And I will say, this is coming from a former shopaholic when it came to clothes and shoes. We can talk more about paring down your closet, shopping your own closet, and how to spend less in another episode. Let's circle back to all the less in this last year and how I got there. So, like I said, I have begun a journey of less in my home, and the lack of clutter has gifted me, honestly, a more peaceful environment. I've heard it said, a cluttered home results in a cluttered mind. And I have found this in my own situation to be true. The cleaner, less cluttered, just really for me results in a more peaceful environment. Another big change for me in 2025, when we're talking about the less that actually ended up giving me more, another big change was working less. As I've mentioned, I retired from 31 years in education back in May of 2025. Now, I work 3 days a week in a local wine bar named Salute that is in Fort Worth in the Foundry District. I absolutely love this job. I was a customer there first. I would attend different wine tastings they had and meet friends there to have drinks and good conversation. And next thing you know, I'm working there. I love it. Working less has freed up so much time to do the things that I want. The other thing about education was that I had to leave the house at 6:45 every morning. Well, I don't have to do that anymore. Now I rise when I want, and I slowly enjoy my coffee before heading out to the trails on the Trinity River. Working less has allowed me to refocus on my physical and mental health. It has provided me more time with my friends and family, and it has definitely slowed the pace of life to a much more comfortable speed. I can volunteer now. I get a lot more exercise. I can meet friends for brunch or lunch. I can go to the grocery store when it's less packed. I get to walk my dog several times a day and relax with a good book on my patio. It is priceless, and it has provided me with so much peace. Working 3 nights a week at Salute provides me with some structure, social interaction, money to pay some bills, and it also allows me to learn more about something that I love and am passionate about, which is wine. I love how this new balance of my life has provided me with peace and clarity and more opportunities to do the things that I really love. Well, next on my less list has been less focus on things that really only stressed me out. For example, what other people think. I'm going to give credit where credit is due, and that is to Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory. Wow. Man, that book was really life-changing for me. I will admit I was on that journey a little bit before reading it. I was giving more thought to worrying less about what other people thought. But that book catapulted me forward and provided me with so much clarity in that area. One big takeaway was that we cannot control what others think or do. We act as if we can. We believe we can. We worry so much about what others think about our clothes, lifestyle, career choice, love choice, social media post, while in reality, we have zero control over it. We do not control what others think about us. I have learned to tell myself, what others think of me is not my business. This has taken away so much anxiety and worry, and in turn provided me with more peace. I can take a big breath and say, well, I'm not going to worry about what others think about that, and just move forward. As Mel says, let them, then let me. Having less stuff, less work, less worry about others' opinions have all given me a strong sense of contentment. Isn't it interesting, strange, that less stuff has actually in turn given me more? I thought with more, I was getting more, but that ended up not really being true. I do wish I would have learned that lesson earlier in life, but it was not meant to be, and it was not the right season for it. Now it is. Now I am ready for more of the good stuff. So what are some of the good things that I did add in 2025? I added more time for reading. I have always loved to read. Love it. I love going to other places in the world as I'm reading the books. I love fiction. I love historical fiction in particular, but I also love a good self-help book, different books about history. I just love to read. Well, with less of the other stuff, it gave me more time to read, and I love that. It helps me to pause and slow down. What else have I added? I added more movement and exercise. I really want to get into that topic a lot more on another episode. But wow, I can move, I can exercise, I can take care of my body every single day, and it has really been amazing. My body has transformed as well as my mind. Also, I've added more time in nature. As I've said before, I'm out on the trails every single day. Starting your day in nature just really sets an amazing tone for the day. And I love that. I've always been a nature lover, and now I'm immersed in it every single day. Another thing I've added is better nutrition, including more protein, which as our bodies are aging, ladies, we need. That's something else we'll get into more on another episode. I've also added more time with friends and family. That's a pretty obvious one. I'm working less. That gives me more time with those that I love. One last thing to mention that I've added over the last year was journaling and reflection time. That's a great time to kind of reflect on what's going on in your life, what you're thinking about, where your heart is. And the thing that I really love about journaling is it's there, it's written down on paper. You can go back later and reread, kind of think more about your own thoughts, metacognition. And I have found for myself that's a great practice. So, wrapping it all up, thinking about all of 2025 and what my exact changes were. Some of these I plan on diving more into in some other episodes, but just wanted to kind of share what my less and more was over 2025. I'm definitely looking forward to what this next year holds. And I want to thank you for joining me as we sipped, savored, and reflected on this beautiful life that we've been given. And until next time, friends, cheers.